kids, right? Because we all face the same things no matter whether you're big or little, right? We're going to talk about fear today. All right. So I want to ask you, what things are you afraid of? Somebody afraid of something? What are you afraid of? Spiders. That's on the top of the list. What? There you go. Black widows. How about rattlesnakes? Who is afraid of rattlesnakes? Oh, okay. How about wolves? How about? Now, look at that. How would you like to see that in a dark night? Who are you scared of, Finn? What are you scared of? Tarantulas, yes. Well, what about lions? You wouldn't be afraid of that? You'd be afraid of that? I'd be afraid of that. What about robbers? Bad people with guns. Yes, look at that. How would you like to see him? How about sickness? How about if somebody makes fun of you at school? All those things. You're afraid of all those things, right? Well, you know what I was afraid of the very most when I was a little kid? Grizzly bears. And you know why I was afraid of grizzly bears? Because every summer, my family went up and we stayed a month in Yellowstone Park. And about a mile from where we lived, the grizzly bear came out at night and he took his big claws and he ripped into the tent and he ripped the people out and ate them. And I was scared. I was a little kid and I was sleeping out in the garage, and all at night long I'd wake up and I'd go crying to my mom because I knew I could see the eyes looking through the windows. And I knew he was going to break down the door and come and eat us all. And I'm still not, I don't really love them. You know, they're mean and angry. I don't love grizzly bears now, see, so I've been scared of them for a long time. Today we're going to talk about something that can turn into a giant. Know what that is? Fear can turn into a giant. And, you know, if you paid any attention at all over the last month or more, what has the pastor been talking about? Giants. He's been talking about giants. So today we're going to talk about 5 ways to kill the giants, okay? And I'm going to need some help. So you remember David? And he was a man. You know, they say he was a youth. He wasn't as little as Emma, but he wasn't as old as Grandpa Dave either. He was in between. He was a youth. He was a youth. And, you know, he later became the king of Israel. And he was just young people. It was young people just like us. And you know what he did? He took care of his mom, and his mom was not there. He took care of his dad's sheep. He took care of his dad's sheep. Well, you know what happens with sheep? Sometimes wolves and bears, and even worse, lions come and get those baby sheep. What could he do? What could he do? So, do you think it'd be a good idea if my very scariest thing I'm afraid of, do you think I should run right up to a grizzly and try to take him down with my bare hands? No. What is that? Is that a stupid idea? Yeah, stupid. How about a big lion? If I went after him, what would that happen? Who would win? Or the lion, the bear or the lion, yeah. So, God doesn't want us to be stupid, does he? Carson, do we pick up a rattlesnake with our bare hands? Yeah. Probably not. No, not a good idea. How about a black widow spider? Would you pick them up and play with them? No, not a good idea. Stupid. God wants us to be respectful of those things that can hurt us. He doesn't want us to be messing around with them. But what could David do? He had to do something, and it's real simple, but sometimes it's really, 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 really hard. What did he do, Finn? What did he do? What would you think would be the first thing he would do, Emma? Well, he got pretty good with his slingshot, he did. But what do you think he did very first thing? What do you think he did? Yeah? Yes, he did. Well, the very first thing I think he did, I think, is he prayed. And you know what he did? I could tell you, it sounds simple, but it's really not that easy. He just trusted God. He thought, I got to do something about this bear and this lion. And so he was going along, and one day he heard about a giant named Goliath. And now everybody knows, where is Goliath right now? Where is Goliath? There he is. Go on. Yeah. Yeah. If you remember the pastor talking about Goliath, the reason I wanted to use Dalton for Goliath, because he's the tallest man I know. Dalton is 6'3", and the yardstick is 36 inches. So add that together. How much is that? 9'9", and that's how big Goliath was. He was 9'9", and did you listen to Pastor all about all the giants? He was very tough, and you know what about him? Look at that face. He was ugly. He was ugly, and he was mean, and he had shields, and he had spears, and he had javelins, and he had pounds and pounds of armor on his body, and nobody was going to get him. And you know what he was doing? He was standing on the other side of the valley, and God's army was on this valley of Elah, and each side, and they were afraid of they were afraid of him. And you know what he did? He came out each day, and he shouted at them. He shouted at him. He was making fun of God every day. So we got to go to step one. How are we going to kill that giant? How are we going to kill that giant? First of all, what? First what? Well, yeah. Well, you know what we have to first find out? We have to find out, who are we going to be fighting? Who? You know what David said? He said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of God? He said, who is he? Who is this? We have to understand who we're fighting. Who are we fighting? Are we fighting people? No. You know what I do when I get real scared? I think of the scripture in 2 Timothy 1:7, and you know what I say? And I'm going to have you repeat it after me. That's why I need adults too. It goes like this. I'm going to say it first. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. Okay? So I'm going to say, God has not given us, repeat, a spirit of fear, but of power. Now, we've got to do this. Power, love, and a sound mind. And now we know who we're fighting, right? So when you get scared, when you see that big, tall giant, what do you say? God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, right? That's what you say first. You know who's going to do. Now what? Step two, what are we going to do? What are we going to do step two? Well, has God ever helped you before? Oh, you have to remember that. Last time he helped you, is he going to fail you this time? No. So what did David say? He said, I've killed both the lion and the bear, and this Philistine is going to be like one of them, because he's defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will also rescue me from the Philistine. So did he trust God again? Yes. Okay, step 3 to kill a giant. What do you have to do? You have to get your weapons ready. So what do we say we do first? Pray and get our weapons. Prayer is one of our weapons. That's one of our weapons. Now, I want everybody to come up and grab 2 stones. 2 stones. And grab your slingshot. Okay. So what did David do? He went down into the creek and he grabbed 2 stones. Did he wear his armor and his sword and everything? No, it didn't fit him at all. So he just got his... Now, I want to tell you about your stones. We don't want to kill Dalton. We don't want to break the windows in the church. So when we come to shooting part, we're going to pretend, okay? No real shooting of the stones. I don't want to knock anybody out. Okay. My question always has been, and adults might answer this, or you may not. I don't know. Why did David pick up 5 stones? Didn't he trust God to kill the giant with 1 stone? But he didn't have time to. I don't think after he shot the first stone, he would have had time to shoot another 4 anyway. He would have been toast. But you know what I read? I don't know if this is true. We don't know this for sure, but they said that Goliath had 4 brothers. He had 4 brothers. Well, he was prepared. He had 4 stones. When we go to fight against fear, what do we need? We need to be prepared, don't we? We need to be prepared. Yes, okay. So now what did the giant say? He said, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? He said, and the Philistine cursed David by his gods. He said, come here, and this is important. He says, I'll give your flesh to the birds and to the wild animals. That's what the giant said. Now, look at Dalton. Dalton is not a mean giant in any way, but that guy on top, he is. I want you to see how tall he is, because that's how high we have to aim, all right? And so, now, step 4 to kill the giant, what do? Do we wait till next week? Next year? A lifetime? Do we deal with the fear when? Right now. So what do we got to do? Stand up and head right for that giant. Stand up. Head right for that giant. Stand right here, right in front of the giant. Okay, stand right here in the middle, right in front of the giant. Okay, you look him right in the eye. Okay. Okay. Now, what did David say to the giant? Now, this is important. I want you to listen to this one. He said, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin. Can you say that? You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. Oh my. Now what? And then he says, do you know what else David told the giant? He told him the same thing the giant told him. He said, today, I'll read you what he said. He said, this day, the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down, and I will cut off your head. And then you know what he said? And I'll give your flesh to the birds and to the beasts of the field. That's exactly what the giant said, didn't he? So do you hit him with exactly the same they hit you with? Yes. You tell him the same thing. And he says, the Lord will deliver you into my hands. He said, now that's what you tell the giant. That's what you tell the giant. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. When I say fire, don't really fire. Just pretend. All right? But you see how high you have to aim? That's how high David had to aim. 9'9" to get that. Okay. And Dalton, get ready. Get ready. Okay, get ready. Okay, get ready. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, fire! Oh, you got him. Okay, now Carson runs up. Carson. What now happens now?
Cuts off his head.
Yep. What did he say he would do? Yeah, that's his head. Yeah, no, you got to take your head. Yeah, he's got your head. Okay, so now you take the head. It's gone. The fear is gone, right? He's dead. You got his head off. Now you know what David thought? He thought, man, you can tell me if this is true. He told me, man, I am really good. I better join the Olympics. I'm a discus thrower. I'm really, really good. I'm so good. Is that what he said? Is that what he said? Do you think he said that? Do you think David thought he was so good that he was going to join the Olympics? No. You know what he said? He said, all those that are gathered here will know it's not by the sword or the spear that the Lord saves, for the battle belongs to who? The Lord. That's right. The battle belongs to the Lord. And then you know what? Yeah. And you know what? David was going to get a reward. And you know what it was? He was going to get a bunch of money, and he was going to get the king's daughter to be his wife. We don't want that, do we? No. So what are we going to get? We're going to get a reward. Okay, thank you, Dalton and Carson, for the dramatization. go. And you can share with and you can keep your rocks, and you can keep your, you can keep your slingshot. Okay, what are we going to get a reward with?